got goosebumps.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, like Randy said.
Tonight's investigation, the Morton House in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Although this video will be more on the historical side rather than the paranormal, it still doesn't rule out a few off-the-wall occurrences we captured on this night. The house is the oldest building in Benton Harbor. It was built in 1849 by pioneer Eliezer Morton and his son Henry Morton, one of the founders of the city of Benton Harbor. The porch on the house was often called the Indian Hotel because Henry Morton allowed the Potawatomi Indians to sleep here on their way to St. Joseph to sell their baskets. The Morton family continued to live in the house until J.S. Morton's death in 1936. Stanley deeded the house to the Federation of Women's Clubs, which used it as a clubhouse and started a house museum in the early 1960s. The Morton House Museum Board now runs the museum as the home of Benton Harbor history. As far as the paranormal happenings go, many people hear voices even without a recording device. They've also photographed strange orbs and light anomalies, as well as an apparition. And perhaps, if you continue to watch this video, you just might witness something that has never happened to them before.
All right, what's up, guys? It's your boy Tommy. We're at the Morton home tonight in Benton Harbor, and we have Debbie, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the Morton home.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I've been on the board and I've volunteered at the Morton House for 28 years. The house was built in 1849 by the first European settlers in Benton Harbor, Eliezer Morton, who we'll see on that side of the house, and his son Henry, who is in the corner. And 4 generations of the family lived here, including Stanley Morton over here, who's Henry's son, and then his children too. The house was in the family's possession until 1937 when Carrie died, and then it was given to the Federation of Women's Clubs. And since then, we've owned the house and use it as a museum. We use it for events and ghost investigations. This would have been the formal parlor. Behind us, the room that we started off in would have been the original dining room and office. In here, we've got the piano, which is actually a Morton artifact, it belonged to the family. And on our very first investigation about 17 or 18 years ago, on one of the EVP recordings, we hear piano music very faintly being played in the background. Very cool. Another investigation that took place in 2013, they had a recorder on the bench, and I don't know who wants to get it, but they kept getting these little red beams of light that you would see on the pictures. And it didn't just happen on the piano, it happened everywhere in the house. That they would
I think I
get
saw
these.
one on your Facebook page. It was like it almost looked like a strobe of lights.
Oh,
or
that
something.
is here.
Oh, right in here?
Yeah, that is this picture, which the house was known as the Indian Hotel for a long time. When the Mortons lived here, they would let Indians sleep on their front porch, which actually was this space here. It was enclosed in 1912. They would give buffalo robes to the Indians and let them sleep here. So the woman that did this particular investigation was walking through here and stopped because she thought she heard chanting of some sort, turned around, took the picture, and she got this image, which We kind of think it reminds us of feathers or something. It's
Yeah, it's very strange. Almost like octopus tentacles too, a little bit.
Yeah, and it was something that we used to have a couch right here, and I was sitting on it watching her. So I know there was no lights coming in the window. There was nothing going on. No street lights, no reflection from cars or anything. We have this room set up as like an office. All of the books and cases in here did belong to the Morton family. And this room is actually Carrie Morton's bedroom. Carrie was an invalid for much of her life. And so this was her room. And the bathroom over here has a wide door that would accommodate a wheelchair, which was very unusual for that point in time. But this room really hasn't had much activity in it. And I'll show you the bathroom just because it's so cool.
Yeah, I already looked at it and I was like, this looks crazy in here already.
Imagine taking a bath in that tub with the sunlight coming in through the stained glass window.
Oh yeah.
The hot water heater is a pretty cool feature. So you didn't have to carry hot water from the kitchen to the bathroom. Had its own hot water supply. But this is just a cool room. I'm not aware of anything supernatural happening in here, but
you never know.
You never know.
There's always a possibility.
I mean, I haunt the house, which I plan on doing. I'll be in here a lot because it's pretty. One of our guides had an experience in
I was
the
looking in
closet.
here and I was like, this looks a little weird.
Well, now, the house was probably built without closets. At one point in time, you were taxed on the number of rooms you had, and they counted a closet as a room. So just because of the way it's built, I'm guessing that this was added on when Carrie began to use this for her room. But we did have a guide that was putting chairs away in there one day, and she walked into like a bright blue ball of light.
Ooh.
Like just, I keep looking, I never see it, but Marcia saw it, and I believe Marcia.
Randy, you're going in there later.
All
We're
right.
locking you in.
So this was Stanley's room when he was older. We have it set up as, so he probably actually died in this room because he did die at home. So it was probably in here. This room doesn't have a lot of activity in it, although we had a caretaker here that lived here, probably in the 80s that I know, and her sister was on the board at the time. This chair did belong to the Mortons. They found it up in the attic. And the caretaker had cats. And the cats weren't supposed to come out here, but sometimes they did. And her sister would yell at her, because this little rug thing kept getting messed up. The cats would be locked up and it would still be getting messed up. So we think one of the Mortons, maybe Stanley was sitting there having a cigar or something, I don't know. But that's one of the stories that's been handed down is somebody will sit in that chair. From here to this room, the entry hall and the stairs, this is like crazy active.
Right through here to the stairs, you said?
Mm-hmm. So this room, is the room where they would lay out deceased family members. So when Stanley died, Carrie died, they were laid out in here. Stanley had a big old Mason funeral and they just, walked him down the street to the family cemetery, the Morton Cemetery. One of the early videos that we have, somebody had a night vision camera set up by the door to the dining room over there. And it was kind of catching the stair and into here, and you could see that picture of, I think that's Jefferson, or Lincoln back there. A ball of light appeared about here, shot through this room, went to the stairs, and 2 investigators had just walked up them. And as the ball of light reached them, one of them says, "Do you smell soap?" So that was kind of an interesting thing. I've smelled soap in the house, like old-fashioned soap, several times over my years here. It's not an everyday occurrence, but that was just a kind of interesting thing. And then come on
That
over.
is very... Do you ever see these things moving by themselves?
Yes, actually, not these. The first year I was the docent chairperson, we used to have these big training sessions, and I was sitting at the big table for the first time, and I'm sitting there and I'm very nervous because I was very young and I don't like talking to people very much, but here I am. And I'm sitting there and The windows are all closed. There's no air conditioner or anything going on. And I hear tinkling. Well, these don't tinkle very well. They're plastic. But I hear like crystal tinkling. And then I look and I can see them move. So I took that as a nice sign that they were happy that I was here.
Right, yeah.
It didn't come crashing down on my head or anything, so...
I mean, it's essentially like a pendulum, so
Yeah.
that's why I asked, because I feel like something like that would be a way of them showing that they're here, so...
Yeah, like I said, that one I took as they were happy to have me here. Last summer, we were supposed to have a group come from the Detroit area, and they canceled. They had to reschedule because something came up. And it was a shame because for the first time ever, we had one of our security cameras go off when nobody was here. And in the video, there are like 5 or 6 different things moving through the doorway, going up the stairs. I'll have to find it and share it with you guys. It was just crazy, and they were very upset that they weren't coming that particular day anymore. I used to be on the Carousel Society board many years ago, and we were having a special meeting at the Morton House because I was on the board then too. And while they were waiting for me to finish doing something, one of the guys that was sitting at the table looked up, and as he looked up the stairs, he could see like the bottom half of a woman, like in an old-fashioned long skirt, start to come down the stairs.
It's like a full-blown apparition kind of thing.
He didn't go into too much detail. I think it freaked him out a whole lot.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so this room, we had an investigation last October as a fundraiser for us, and there was a woman up here that had an, oh crap, what's it called?
Explain what it does, and I can tell you probably.
An EMF
detector, K2.
Yes, thank you. And she was standing over here by the dresses and asking, something, do you have a favorite dress? And it was really funny because watching it, whoever was in the room really liked this dress. Not so fond of this dress. And I don't know if because this dress, our mannequins are too big. But, so really, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity in this particular room. That was probably the biggest thing that I can remember.
Nothing about this chair rocking or anything like that?
Nope. It'd be really cool.
I've been wanting to see something like that, but...
Yeah, it'd be really cool if it did it now. Yeah, we haven't really seen much doors open, that sort of thing.
And I'm looking to communicate with any of the Morton family here tonight or anyone else that's in this house that wants to communicate with us.
That has never happened before. Most of the results have been pictures and EVPs and some videos. When I started volunteering here, this room was actually at the room at the top of the stairs, which we've now converted to a research room. That was our pioneer bedroom. This used to be our children's room. So this is now the pioneer bedroom. This particular mannequin was in that room at the top of the stairs. And for some reason, when I started here, I started calling her Abigail. Now we've got 4 or 5 different mannequins in the house. She's the only one that I've named. When I met this particular caretaker, she told me that she also had named that mannequin Abigail, which I thought was pretty weird. And then a couple of years later, cleaning up the cemetery, we discovered that Eliezer had had a second wife named Abigail. So Abigail's room is at the top of the stairs, but Abigail now lives here. Yeah, it is pretty funny. Just a funny story.
Yeah,
I was here with my 5-year-old niece and my mom, and we told her about Abigail. We thought she should know that the house was haunted. So we went through the whole house with her yelling, "Abigail, come meet your new friend. Hello, Abigail." And we're up here and we hear a voice downstairs go, "Hello." One of the other guides had shown up to bring cookies for an event. It could not have been more perfectly timed, and it is my favorite ghost story. So I told you that this room used to be in another room. When this room was moved over, I hadn't been here since the move when my husband and I came with our friends, and the girl is psychic. And she gets to this room, and at that point in time, that rifle or whatever it is, musket, was underneath the trundle bed here. And she walked in immediately, reached under the bed and says, "Miss Morton says this cannot be down here. The children will get hurt." I didn't know it was under the bed, but she did. Having her come through the house was really Really interesting. Lots of stuff was going on.
Ooh, I have one of those on my wall at home, but it's a replica. One of those
The
old,
phone?
yeah.
The Morton's phone number is 85.
Is it really?
Yeah, that little tiny phone book covers Benton Harbor, St. Joe, Coloma, Waterville, Leet, South Haven, and I think Berrien Springs maybe.
Oh wow.
It's but the Morton's phone number was 85. So the wallpaper in this room is also to the Morton family, so 110 years old or so. There's that wall hanging behind you guys over there. That came off of one of the Graham Morton ships, like directly behind you. Like turn around.
Yeah, that right there.
Oh, okay.
So, and then just because it's cool, that light fixture there is electric on the bottom and gas on top. Very dangerous.
Yeah,
Oh,
that doesn't
yeah.
sound like the greatest idea.
But in the early days of electricity, when you might only get it between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, you still needed
Because this
light.
area was using Berrien Springs for their power back in the day. That's where they were getting most of their power from.
Oh, was it really?
That's what I understand.
But up here, it was another incident of the lines shooting off of the whatever detector or recorder they were using there. So we've
That
changed
is
the table
so
setting.
weird. You got that so many times here.
And that's only been that one night.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
That
we've
is
taken
bizarre.
pictures all over the place, and only this particular night. We get a lot of one-time events only.
Could it possibly be something with like whatever camera they were using, or?
I think this was multiple cameras.
Oh, it was multiple cameras.
I think so. But it was just
I've never
the
seen
weirdest
anything
thing.
like that.
This is Abigail's room.
Abigail's room.
Yep, Abigail's room.
And it's now converted into like an office.
It's our research room. So
Oh,
we've
okay.
got a bunch of books and stuff, news clippings, a cute little Halloween bucket. And it's really slanty in here. We think that this room was actually added in between the two real rooms. They had a lot of people that would stay with them, a large family, and when the canal was being built, the dredge operator actually lived with them for like a year and a half or something. So this particular room, when we were here with my psychic friend, was standing here and talking, and I felt my shoulder get cold. Just my left shoulder get really cold. And you see there are no vents in here, the window is painted shut. And about the same time, or just after I started to feel that cold feeling, my friend goes, "Miss Morton just put her arm around you." And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird because my shoulder just got cold. My husband was walking around me, you know, like trying to feel like, is there a breeze or something? And he had to agree it was only on this shoulder. And now, every once in a while, when I guess I'm doing a good job or a good tour, I will get a cold shoulder. And in this case, it's a nice thing. Normally, people don't want a cold shoulder.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah, it's a good cold shoulder. I really like this cold shoulder.
That wasn't for me.
Yeah.
What is this building right here?
That's the old barn.
Okay, that's the old barn. Okay.
Yep.
And when did they tear that down?
That they actually burned it as a fire training exercise in the mid-60s. There's where you guys are parked out there. There's a little cupola. That's
Oh.
the cupola from the top of the barn.
Me and Rainey were like, what is this from? We were wondering because I've driven past there. I was like, what is that little thing?
Yeah, the barn itself was so termite damaged that it couldn't be saved, but the cupola was still okay. So this was probably a bathroom after 1912. In the 70s, it was turned into a laundry room as a Eagle Scout project. But when Danny again was here taking pictures, I should have showed you this in Abigail's room. There's this weird glow on this turning wheel, the spinning wheel. Okay, it's there. It's also, well, we have a picture of it in here too, but apparently I didn't put it in the book. That same thing though showed up in here, and it showed up in another room. That same weird glow.
That is just so bizarre.
Yeah, it was, that night was just radiant. I have no other way to describe it. But we have seen like little balls of light in here before. And then over here, this is what we're using now as a children's nook.
You can go first.
That table belonged to one of our board members who's 95 years old. When she was a little girl, but I really haven't had much happen in here, except this is where I told you about the polite ghost that said excuse me, because the other investigator and I were to stand next to me. We're standing like this, saying, "Go down there and touch the REM pod, make the REM pod go off." And we hear this voice go, "Excuse me." Sorry, I didn't know you couldn't just walk through. Okay, so first story about the basement is my friend the caretaker. She was coming down these stairs for whatever reason.
Get out of the shop.
And something happened and she tripped and she started to fall forward. So she was like right about here. She grabbed a handrail where there was no handrail. She was already past the end of the handrail. And a hand pushed her back upright. There was nobody down here. We're thinking it might have been their old chauffeur, Henry. He was, he took care of the house, he took care of the family, you know, the basement was his realm too. So we're thinking it might have been him, that he might have pushed her upright. I just love that story.
Yeah, the grabbing the rail where there's no rail.
Yeah, rail where there's no rail. Down here, this Miss Morton that seems to like me and does the cold shoulder thing, she was very concerned about me one time because I was down here with 3 men and none of them were my husband. She was weird. She was little weird flashes of light were going by. The answers they were getting, responses were that this was an uncomfortable situation and I really should be going upstairs.
Right.
I'm like, it's okay. Their girlfriends are upstairs. It's okay. So back to the caretaker. She was in her apartment getting ready and had 2 friends out here waiting, and they were looking at the picture of Josephine, who died when Stanley was about 12 years old after her 4th child was born. And the 2 friends were standing there and they look and they're like, wow, she's really pretty. And this voice goes, thank you. That freaked them out a little bit. I talk to her all the time. She never says anything to me. But the grand finale. So this, 2013 it happened. Once again, the couch was over there. I was sitting on the couch watching Danny take pictures, and she took a picture of this mirror here.
Unfortunately, out of respect for Debbie and the Morton House board, I was not able to receive the physical copy of the apparition caught in the mirror, as well as a few other things. You can still see the picture in the little booklet she shows within the video, though.
Some pictures, but she held the good one for last. She came in with her laptop, and she had it open, and she's looking and she's walking around and she's looking at all the pictures and looking at this mirror and whatever, and she finally goes, okay, what do you guys see? And she showed us this picture, which I wish I'd been smart and blown it up or brought my laptop.
Would it be possible to get those emailed to us?
Yeah.
So we can put them in the video?
But if you can look, and I don't know if the bright light will be too bright to
Is
not
that a
reflect.
hand or something?
Yes.
I just saw that right away right there in the corner.
Yes, I have hated this flower arrangement. That's why it's banished upstairs. If you can see, it's like a gentleman, like posing for a picture.
What is that right there, too?
That is like the neck of his white shirt, like he's wearing a coat, which is what she was going around looking for, is to see if anything was reflected. Nothing has a hand. I mean, it reminds me of like Henry over there with the white.
Yeah, but there's no hand.
Shirt. There's no hand. There's no hand.
That's crazy.
But this, I mean, and if you look at it really closely on the bigger, you can even see veins. I mean, it is,
gosh.
he is posing for his portrait to be taken with this newfangled camera. And that darn flower arrangement blocked it.
So like I said before in the intro of this video, this was more so on the haunted historical side rather than an investigation video. And I hope what you learned so far was rather fascinating or at least intriguing, but that doesn't rule out what we still discovered within the Morton House. These next few clips you're about to witness all occurred after the amazing tour that Debbie gave us. This first clip took place within the Empire Room, in which Debbie said there was no activity such as doors opening. And I truly felt like the spirits were listening to us during this time, because by God, here's what happened.
Alright, mine's rolling. Alright.
And I'm rolling.
You going too?
Yep.
Alright. So does this have a specific name for the room or anything, or like?
It's the Empire bedroom,
Empire bedroom.
named after that time in history around the 1830s.
Okay. So I'm gonna start a EVP recording. I'm gonna set this. I'll just set it up on here.
Do one as well.
Yeah, I'll wait till you. All right, so we were in the Empire room, like she said. You know, I guess we'll give our introductions. I always like to introduce myself when I come to locations for the spirits to communicate with me and everyone else. So I'm Tommy Tombstone, and I'm looking to communicate with any of the Morton family here tonight, or anyone else that's in this house that wants to communicate with us.
That has never happened before.
That just literally opened.
Yeah, the door just popped
Right
open.
when I said, I just got like goosebumps from that. Did you get that?
Yeah. Anna just got
I
some
got the
kind of a
creakies running
weird,
up the back of my
Oh
neck.
yeah.
some kind of a weird orb just flew out of that way too.
So this is one of those difficult scenarios trying to make people believe what just occurred. Unfortunately, out of the 3 cameras that were filming, no one got the closet door cracking open in real time. However, you can clearly hear the sound of it cracking open along with all of our genuine reactions to it happening. These are just one of those rare moments that you just got to believe what we captured and accept it as that. Another weird thing that occurred just moments after the door cracking open was a strange possible orb that shot out near the door itself. And I'll let you be the judge for this as well.
Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that?
These next 2 clips were taken from Debbie's phone, along with Dan Holroyd and the other Debbie, in what's known as Abigail's room. They were getting some crazy reoccurring K2 spikes for about 45 minutes. I just narrowed it down for time's sake.
Abigail, are you in the room here with us right now? Show me a really big yes. Really big. Okay.
Now, when you said really big, it went to orange.
Is Joanna in the room with us? Really big. You're right, I say really big and it goes to orange.
All right, here we go.
Can you give us just one good big jolt and see what happens? You can use the energy from my phone if you need to. Use my phone bar or my phone energy.
I heard it tick.
I did too. That was a good try, Abigail. Can you try again?
You made it make noise.
Try again.
This very last clip was taken from one of Randy's stealth cams that was placed in Carrie Morton's bathroom. This just so happened to be one of the few rooms in the house that Debbie told us there was no activity whatsoever. But what you're about to watch makes me think otherwise. I'm not sure what to make out of this video clip, and there's really no possible way for us to debunk this as well. What you will see is someone or something slowly moving the camera from right to left, and then downwards. Keep in mind, this camera was all by itself for at least an hour with no human soul next to it whatsoever. Truly unexplainable. Let me know down in the comments what you guys make out of this. So this was a very different type of video that I generally don't do. However, from gaining all the knowledge and history from a location that resides from the surrounding area, I rightfully have to say I had a buttload of fun within the Morton House. This location I had locked down for at least 6 months prior to making this video, and I was nothing but astounded to cover this place. The tour that Debbie gave us was nothing short of confounding, and although we didn't seem to pick up a crazy amount of activity on this night, I still enjoyed my time here and received so much from a historical standpoint. I can assure you that yes, there is paranormal activity within the house. However, I do think the spirits here are very intelligent and like their own privacy. All in all, I hope you enjoyed this production and gained some intriguing information about this historical house in Benton Harbor and all who surround it. We hope to hit this location once again this summer. As always, I'm Tommy Tombstone, and this was my story of the Morton House.